are these people?
So, some of the other channels that I know you've been watching, who else are you checking out these days?
A lot. But my tastes have shifted dramatically since I started PFC. When I first started, I was more like on the like I used to watch Kyle Kalinske, The Humanist Report, David Dole, and occasionally TYT. And then after Joe Biden got elected and they all completely started like, sheepdogging people into the Democratic Party and defending the squad, or at best, not even mentioning the squad where they failed numerous times over the last 2 years. I shifted dramatically. So now, like, mostly I would say I get a lot from Richie Medhurst, Lee Camp, of course, everybody at Revolutionary Blackout. So I watch JB's show, I watch Savvy's show, and everybody at RBN as well, basically every day. Other than that, geez, I still watch everything that the Gray Zone puts out. Glenn Greenwald, of course, and yeah, I mean, you kind of know because I post a lot of the videos on my Facebook PFC group. If something really good comes out, I will immediately put it in there so more eyes can get on it. I still watch Jimmy Dore, not as much nowadays, but I'm still a big Jimmy Dore fan. And yeah, I mean,
And of course, all the
you've kind of
INN
seen
people. You got all the
yeah, oh,
INN
of course,
people.
INN. Yep, a lot of INN. A lot of Reefer After Dark. I watch Uncle Warren's show a lot. I really like his show. I have since the beginning. And of course, everything that you guys do together. I don't always watch every single video all the way to the end, but I'll bop in for a half hour, an hour, whenever I'm just sitting around, and I'll listen. And of course, I like Jesse Jet's new show as well. It's really, really good. He's super talented, and we're glad to have him. But yeah, that's what I'm doing nowadays. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I watch routinely.
There's
I
so
can actually
many.
look it up here.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you, we're
I
putting
still
out.
I bop in for like the random episodes of Hardlens Media, Convo Couch. Oh, Franco, I always watch Frank Analysis. I like his show a lot. I've always been a big fan ever since he had me on the first time. But yeah, that's mostly what I've got. I do keep an eye on some other channels who I would consider to be a little bit less than left, just in case they do something really stupid and I have to go out there and roast them. I won't bring them up right now. They've been okay lately, but I have two or three channels, one of which is Breaking Points, where I'll bop in and see what they're talking about just so I'm not in an echo chamber. And every once in a while, I'll run into a really, really bad take where I have to make a joke about it in a roast. But yeah, that's basically who I'm consuming at the moment, but it changes week by week. If somebody really turns me off with something they say, I will allocate that time to another channel that I like better, and it's always evolving. So, yeah.
And any like podcasts or call-in shows? Have you been like getting into listening to any of the more of the audio stuff, or is it more still
Not a
just
lot.
YouTube
Not
and
lately, and
video
I might
stuff?
in the future. Yeah, no, not really. Oh,
Hmm.
also, I do listen to Russell Brand quite a
Oh,
bit
he's
still.
great. Oh my
Not
God.
as much nowadays as I was like 2 or 3 months ago, but I still quite like his show. He's hilarious, and he's getting better as he learns more about politics. He's just kind of naturally funny and nuanced, and he actually gives a shit about being honest with his audience and communicating with his audience. So I quite like it. I don't know if you saw, he's now the top political YouTuber in the world, I believe.
Yes.
His YouTube channel actually gets more views than like Joe Rogan. So I love that. He passed TYT in early March, almost the same day that Jimmy passed Kyle Kalinske. They passed the person they were chasing like within 2 days of each other. It was awesome. That was a very happy time for me. March 8th through 11th.
Oh man, March 8th was the day that my Discord got zapped. And
Oh,
actually
I'm sorry.
March 8th is our brother Reese's birthday. It's kind of funny. He got his we both got our Discord zapped on his birthday. It was a
Sorry to hear
crazy
that.
day. Yeah, that was we still haven't quite recovered. But yeah, I definitely remember Jimmy and Russell passing TYT and Kyle. And again, it's not a surprise. I think Russell's up to 5 point. He said in yesterday's video, 5.7 million. He's up to now.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
don't discount what he's doing on Rumble, because they don't have like a second outlet that's delivering thousands of live views plus tens of thousands of views on. It's. I mean, they have their own app, but I don't even know how many people are using that thing. The
Yeah,
Rumble's huge.
Russell gets more views on YouTube per video than CNN does at prime time. Like he gets more views than CNN by himself, and he's growing, and they're dying. So I've been saying this for like since basically the inception of PFC is that a lot of these like honest comedians that are like dabbling in politics are kind of the way of the future, I think, because people inherently trust them more. I even saw a poll the other day on Twitter that was like, who do you trust the most? Comedians or politicians? And comedians had like 95%. Like, so yeah, I think we understand like corporate media figures and politicians are not to be trusted, but you can get a little bit of truth from these Russell Brand's, Jimmy Dore's, Joe Rogan types. And I think that has a lot to do with why they're so popular, is because they may not be necessarily aligned with you in every way, but at least they're honest and they're like naturally curious people who are trying to get to the bottom of all this and giving you their honest opinion along the way. So I think that's why they're so popular. Joe Rogan on Spotify absolutely dwarfs like anybody else. I mean, he has twice as many views per episode than Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson is the leading view getter on primetime television. I think he averages like 5 million views per episode on TV, but Joe is up at like 10 million plus. I think it's 11 million actually. So I mean, these people are actually they're doing what I hope our network will do, which is kind of phase out that old way of doing the news, and I think that's what people are kind of into nowadays. They're willing to listen to people that aren't necessarily, they don't come from a background in politics. And in a way, that's actually a good thing. And they trust them more because they seem to be, interacting with their audience and asking honest questions. So I love it. I hope that these channels continue to grow. I would love nothing more than for people to generally get their media and their news from people like that in the future rather than the Stuart Varneys and the Sean Hannitys and the Rachel Maddows and the Brian Stelters of the world. And it's happening right before our eyes. CNN Plus is dead. CNN is hemorrhaging viewers. The Intercept is begging for subscriptions because they're down at least 20% with their subscriptions right now. They admitted that in like a newsletter or a memo that they sent out to their subs. They're like, we need your money because we're down 20%. So I think that those channels and those outlets are the way of the past. It's just a matter of how long are we going to take to transition. And for people like you and me, man, it's just a matter of just like waiting it out. We got to box them out. Eventually, we'll phase out those dinosaurs. They will go extinct. And then we will have the market cornered and we'll actually be honest with our viewers. We will interact with them and they'll keep us in line. And that is a much more sustainable and I think a much better way to get your news is people that come from not wealthy backgrounds just giving you their opinion, reading the news on their shows, and they interact with their audience. If you interact with your audience, they keep you in line, which is something that these other
Mm.
mainstream media channels do not have. That's an advantage we have because if I have a bad take, generally I don't agree with the Vanguard on this. They seem to be happy to maul with their viewers every once in a while. If my viewers come at me in droves over a bad take, I listen to them because they came to my show for a reason. I attract people to my channel that tend to like what I'm doing and agree with my views. So if I have a bad take, I expect my viewers to hold me to account. And that's a good thing. I can change my mind if a bunch of my viewers that I interact with regularly hold me on something that I said that was bad, I change my mind. And I think that's the way of the future. That's more important because that way you're held accountable in a way by your viewers and that way you can be a better voice for the people. So that's what I hope this all becomes. I would love to see, I'm so excited to see where this is 2, 4, 5 years from now when we've got a bunch of other content creators in our own network. But I also want to see other networks pop up like ours. I'd love to see people that are friends that are looking for an outlet that are well versed in politics just getting together and just do your own fight club. Just talk with your friends on a channel for once a week for an hour about politics. I would love that. I want more people to raise their voices and start working together. That is, in my opinion, the way of the future, and I really hope it catches on. And it seems to be. It really does.
Well, I know that there's one out there that CJ helped start initially. That there's I think the People's Voice Network. They used to be the Populist Voice Network. So there's
Yeah.
another one out there
Yep.
that they're getting going. They've got a couple of decent shows I've seen. There's another one that I saw on um, Rockfin called Union of the Unwanted, and that's like a huge group of Rockfin streamers that we know, and I know that Slow News Day Steve is in there, and Nico House from MCSC are in there. But then and there's Sam Tripoli and some other comedians and some other Rockfin people that you may or may not know, and it's just that's one of those places where you can experience different voices and start to broaden out and learn some different streamers and hear some different takes and different perspectives, which I'm always looking for. Um,
Yep.
Here's
Yep.
what
That's
Colin's
another
saying.
advantage we have, man, is we have some diversity, like real diversity within these networks. People that come from different backgrounds, they're different marginalized groups that are going to give you a take you'll never ever get on any of these other channels. And that includes breaking points. You will never get you'll never have anybody that's like a really poor person of color be on breaking points. If they do, it'll be just to like bring them on as like a tokenism thing where they'll be like, hey, yeah, you can't say that about us because we do have actually a poor person of color. Generally, I think these independent networks are going to be the only place you can get those viewpoints. So again, that gives us a huge advantage, and that's what I want to listen to. I actually enjoy listening to, diverse opinions on this stuff. As long as you're honest and you're not bought out, I have I'll listen to whatever you have to say. The only other criteria that you have to have is you have to be anti-imperialist and anti-capitalist. Beyond that, if you meet those three criteria, I will listen to what you have to say. We can have a great conversation. And that's something that you can't get on mainstream media or a lot of these boutique lefty channels. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. It's an echo chamber.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got some other names I wanted to add in there that have been, they're regularly featured in Leftist Today and my Substack, in Independent Left News, which are who are the Bank Sisters. Again, they're going to be appearing tonight as well. Okay, we've got Primo Radical, huge fan of Primo,
Yep.
but again, you mentioned some of my favorites that I watch is JB Font and Sabby. I also love watching CJ. He's got this "You Left Shit
Yep.
Out," and again, all the
Yep.
RBN people, Joe Sana, and I like that International Leftist Coalition that they do. Also, that's such a great like. Kareem and those guys, that's a totally different take that nobody's providing anywhere else. And
Yep.
kudos to Nick for coming up with that. Um, so some of the other Caitlin Johnstone, I think, did you mention Caitlin? Because she writes, but she
Yeah.
also puts out a YouTube video of her writing. I think it's her husband that reads it, which is
Yes.
amazing. I love hearing that.
I love our channel too. Yep. Very much.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. And you mentioned our friends again, Hardlands Convo, Franco.